Welcome to the True Love Secrets Revealed series. Today we have with us Cyndi Olin. As a former high-end matchmaker, Cyndi has coached and worked with hundreds of people, women and men, to find their happily ever after. And today she's joining us to really help us to clear up our communication skills in a way that we can really magnetize a man. We can be irresistible to that man that we are dating or in a relationship with. This is not going to be just frou-frou stuff. This is going to really help you to get results. Thank you, Cyndi, for being here. You are brilliant. You are wise. You are so generous and beautiful inside out. I cannot be more happy to have you because you deliver. This is the second time I'm interviewing you, and the first interview last year was phenomenal. And I can't wait for the ladies to get this really in-depth workshop today.
Oh, yes. Thank you again for having me, Natalia. You're amazing. I just adore you. And I'm so excited to be here and like give to, all of these women that are opening their hearts bravely to receive lasting love, truly. And um, yeah, it's exciting. So communication can be a thing, right? I think a lot of times, I work with a lot of women myself and some great men too. And what I notice is that they get tripped up when it comes to creating a deeper connection um, and they don't realize the power of their words and the energy behind their words that actually can either magnetize him, bring him closer, create a bond and a, a deeper connection, or, even actually make him think twice if he was maybe lukewarm and thinking about you a little more casually. Your communication can actually make the difference between him going, this is the kind of woman that I want to pay attention to. I want to get closer to. I want to know her inner world, right?
Right.
Sorry, my eye is watering. So you guys, I am not crying. I,
I know, allergies,
I know
probably.
my eyes watering, and I was thinking when you were introducing me, I was like, "Oh wow, they must be Anyway, you guys. So if my eyes watering, it's just I think I've got like some allergies, and I had some. Anyways, doesn't really matter. So I'm here to support you guys. So if you think I'm crying because communication is so touching, yes, it is, and that's not why.
That's
So
how passionate we are about the
it's
subject. Passion
passion
coming through tears.
and tears through my passion. Um, so when it comes to communicating, so let's talk about online, right? So I feel like a lot of times women feel discouraged online because they're waiting for a man to lead them. They're waiting for a man to go, act really open and excited to get to know you. And the online dating culture has it can feel trepidatious for them too. Let's
Mm.
just say that because they've had experiences, right? They've had things that have happened just like maybe you have, and they might feel a little trepidatious. Well, if you meet them with trepidatious energy, if they say something like, hi, and you meet them with hi, it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Hi, how are you doing? And you're judging everything they're saying, which we can do, right? Who's been guilty of that? So, what you want to do instead is meet them with a different energy. Because here's the deal, a lot of people don't realize this. As the feminine, you are the emotional leader. We tend to lead even in emotional intelligence. It's not that men aren't emotionally intelligent. Here's my tears again. They are. They're very emotionally intelligent, but they get their inspiration through us. So
Mm.
when we inspire them, they're like, "Wow, I'm all of a sudden curious about her." You know, she might have had nice photos and had a really great message that seemed interesting, but and now she seems real,
Right.
right? So if he says hi on the dating app, you can meet him with, "Well, hello, handsome. I'm feeling excited to get to know you."
Right.
Um, what does that do? It opens him.
Right.
It opens him. And then all of a sudden he gets excited. Now, are there times where he might go, "Okay, hi, how are you doing?" He might do that too. So, so then you're like, wait, is he ever going to open up? Um, I mean, it kind of depends on the person. And it's a good way to sift through people by seeing, well, is he going to open? Right? Um, you know, I'm feeling great today. So he says, "Hi, how are you?" "I'm feeling great today." And then you share something that's really beautiful about your day and describe it in a little bit of detail. I'm feeling so grateful today. I managed to get up early and enjoy my workout outside before, um, almost as the sun was coming up. It was captivating, and it just made me feel so grateful for the beauty of the morning and hearing the birds. I just love that time of day. What about you? Right? I mean, I could talk about anything. I could
Any.
talk about, so you pick something, or, you know, I'm blessed to get to work from home, and I love it when the sun shines in my window and I get to feel the warmth on my skin without really experiencing the 106-degree day. Right? Like, you can add a little humor too. But um I'm ever so grateful for that. So this can open up things. What about you? What are you excited about? And he's like, "Well, I'm excited I get to relax this weekend. I really enjoy cooking." "Ooh, you're a cook. Tell me more." You know? So you see, it's like you're creating a connection with another beautiful soul without judging it.
Right. I
You think,
love it. I love
yeah,
it.
you think that guy's gonna ask you out? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can open him up to that. Gosh, I would love to hear more about your cooking when I meet you in person.
Right.
And you want to move from the platform to in person as soon as possible. because the longer we chat online, the less likely we are to meet in person.
Mhm.
So that's online, right?
Right.
Let's say you're dating a guy, you feel, and you want to bring things, you want to create more magnetism. You want him to be, more excited. Well, you get to emotionally be in that excitement yourself. So let's just say, he says, "Hey, how you doing?" You could even be like, I felt a smile come across my face seeing your message. Um, I'm so excited to see you tonight. I can't wait to feel your arms around me. How's your day? He's going to be like, whoa, wow. Do you do things like that?
Right.
Right? It's captivating those moments because then they start to create bigger moments. And this is just one little fragment of the language of love-based communication.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, there are several fragments. It's a whole language, and it can feel kind of overwhelming. But if you get this part going, this is the part that creates a deeper connection and desire. And you can communicate anything you want to a man, but it's all about your energy behind it.
Yeah.
All about your energy. So, like, I, you know, I often think about, things in my own, you know, partnership, in my own relationship, and how to help people through that. So there is this is something that's funny. My two boys, my men, my man and my young man that's growing up, they tend what I experience with them is they love to get a new glass for every time they drink something. So, glass of water, glass of milk, uh, you know,
Right.
lemonade, whatever. They're grabbing different glasses, and I find myself um, collecting the glasses, and I don't, all over the house.
Yeah.
And but if um, now we can easily allow that to build up and go, okay, what's this class for? What's really going on here? Um, or we can create some play with our communication. And if you're with a man that desires to make you happy, because most men do, they just do, um, you can get your point across without making them wrong. And I think a lot of women hesitate to communicate things that they'd like to see different, or they do it when they're at the height of their frustration,
Mm.
when they're just ready to, like, their, steam's pouring out of their ears or whatever. They're like, oh my gosh, he did it again. He doesn't even notice. There's all these glasses around the house or whatever, or socks on the floor. Men don't notice things like this the way that we do. And that's okay, right? Like, and because we have diffused awareness, they tend to be singularly focused. So, um, you know, as I'm in the sink, let's just say I'm at the sink and I'm hand washing a glass, like, hey sweetie, I know, like, do you have other glasses around that I could wash? um I just love washing all these glasses. It's so fun. Like, you don't, I mean, you could play with it. I mean, sarcasm is it's not always the best, but just be like, oh yeah, like I've noticed I know where you're at. I see the glasses. Um, and gives me comfort knowing you're here. Um, you know, or you could say, hey honey, it would feel really good if you just grab your glass once you're done over there, and just put it by the sink or the dishwasher, and I'll take care of it, right? Because it also shows, hey, I've got your back, you've got my back, and I'm not attacking you or blaming you. And a lot of times, you know if men jump into the defense when you're coming from a love-based place, they might do it early on because they're used to a different kind of communication. And likely it started in childhood, right? Little baby Joey, go pick up your clothes off the floor. Do that, do that. We that transfers. So when you come from an inspiring place, or you even share your vision, oh man, I have this vision of having a home that we we have, one cup per, one cup that we use all day long. And don't sweat it, right? I mean, that's just a small thing.
Right.
And if we're triggered about something, or we're triggered about glasses being left around the home, and it feels like an overwhelming trigger, it's never about that. So what is a need that I have that I feel isn't being met?
Yeah.
And you want to just get curious. And curiosity is always the way to deeper, more intimate communication. And if someone isn't playing along with you, or he doesn't actually come around, because what I see is when a man starts to jump into the defense, what'll happen is, if you're not jumping in and saying, hey, I was just trying to, be nice and playful. If you don't become a part of that trigger that he's having, because usually that trigger is triggering some childhood guilt or something going on inside. If you just lean back and let him have his experience, most men are going to come back to you and say, and start doing it. They just start taking the action, or they acknowledge, like, hey, I might have come across a little harsh when I said that. I really appreciate you and
Right.
all your love towards me. Kind of depends on the man, but those things will open him up, right? If you're early dating and you want to get to know a guy better, and you're like, what do I say that, isn't just an interview question, right?
Right.
You want to say, okay, so tell me about, like, do you remember a time in your childhood where you got in trouble? Tell me about what happened that day. um and most people, they'll go back, and what was it, did you do it, like what, um and you can start to get deeper through asking those questions. What was a day that you remember really changed your life? What
Right.
happened that day? Was it for the better? and then you can get deeper into feelings. Do you remember something that you did or that you achieved even that you didn't think was ever possible for you? Or you thought it was going to be the impossible dream at that time? You don't even have to say, that, but you know, if you can stay open and curious in your body, and that can be challenging, especially early on. Yeah.
I love it. And what is coming up for me is that in that way, when with our communication, we allow him to, we create an environment where he can recreate a good feeling. It's
Yes.
like an anchoring. We are anchoring him feeling good with us. It's like
Yes.
when he thinks about us, he will feel good because he will remember the feelings he felt when he was with us.
Exactly.
So
And
our
men, and,
communication,
and as men go towards things that feel good toward for
yeah.
them. And it's like, you know, men, and we all are, we all appreciate things that we had to work towards and put effort towards. So he's going to have so much joy putting effort towards the connection with you when he feels your excited connectivity, when he feels your expressive feelings.
What about,
Because,
Cindy, about, sorry to interrupt you, but what about a woman? Let's give you an hypothetical case, a scenario. What about a woman that is deep into a corporate job? She's wearing a suit. Maybe she's a lawyer or a CPA or an IT software kind of woman that is around men all the time, and she's always putting down fires, and she's always what you and I we call on our masculine energy. So
yeah,
it's about doing, it's about logic, it's about fixing, it's about, and all this conversation we are having today is about being in your feelings. So a
yeah.
woman like that, she probably doesn't even have a clue how to get into her feelings.
Yeah, well, that's one facet of her personality, right? And
Right.
we all have the, masculine driver in us, like we all have it. And that's another facet actually of your feminine too. However, um, if you rule more, you're you lean more into that way of being with relationships, it oftentimes creates competition. So how do you shift out of that? Is that what you're asking? Like what
Right.
about her?
How
How
they,
do you shift out of it? So there's a couple different things. Even in the workplace, start to ask yourself, am I doing it all? Or am I leveraging support that I could possibly get? And a lot of times, if you're answering, well, yes, I'm doing it all, I'm the most competent, capable, it's my job, XYZ. Well, you can leverage support from the men around you, especially if you work with a lot of them,
right.
by inspiring them to want to support you. It's the same thing. And the invitation is for you to flex a little differently. So it might be like, well, hey David, um, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind helping me with something. You're so good at this XYZ thing. Would you mind taking a look at this and letting me know? Um, if we get to add this and that onto this, or and he's going to be like, yeah, I'll be happy to take a look at it, because you're acknowledging a brilliant spot in him. Two, men want to make women happy. It's their mission in life, whether you're his colleague or his wife or his daughter or the woman, down the street, like struggling with her groceries or something. The masculine man wants to make a woman happy. So, and if he goes, yeah, I mean, I'll take a look at it when I can. I mean, he he may not, he may not be in his um, he may not be in his masculine energy. So that's interesting. It's just interesting information, right? But I guarantee you, when you start doing that, and start with something simple, like, hey, would you mind just taking a little once over this? You're so brilliant at seeing, um, you know, this X thing. I want to know, what your thoughts are. He's gonna want to give his thoughts around it. And then what's even better is he's like, oh my gosh, I've got another idea. Let me do XYZ to it. Not only has he enhanced your work, he's also partially taken it over, and he'll give you credit for it too. He'll be like, gosh, you're brilliant. You did da 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 da. And then you get to say, wow, you saved me. You are so my hero. Thank you so much. You're the best. That starts to create a different energetic connection, right? And then he's gonna go, gosh, is there anything you need? Like, and he'll just start to notice things that you might need. Oh, hey, I thought this might help you. That's what it creates. It creates a co-creation together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's so amazing. I remember growing up, I didn't have that at all. I was totally in my masculine energy, and I was super, straightforward and say it as it is. And I remember when I moved to the States, I made friends with this woman from Venezuela. And one day she tells me, we were talking, and I was just being myself, like straightforward, very just to the point. And she's like, Natalia, put some sugars in your words. You're going to attract a lot more bees if you put some sugar in your words. And it kind of hurt because,
Yeah.
but she was right. And it's amazing how I always wanted to look bright. I always wanted to know, like I knew what I was doing and all that. And in that, intention of not looking like an idiot, I was coming out really, really unapproachable and very critical and
And
harsh.
that can put walls up because we're totally in our head. And
Right.
and that's the other thing. A lot of times when women are really in their head, they can appear flat.
Mm.
They can appear harsh. And so when you start to put a little bit of sugar
Yeah,
into a connection, you can watch it grow. You're literally just contexting him, and the right men will just adore you, and you will be able to cultivate a much easier life and a deeper connected life too.
absolutely. Absolutely. I was at a meeting at a birthday party the other day, and my friends were talking about this woman in our community that is dating this guy,
Mhm.
and he's apparently, it seems to be a super good catch. He has many
Cool.
businesses going on, very successful businesses, and he bought her a house cash. He bought her a half a million, no, a $50,000 car cash. A bike that was like $20,000, a custom, because she's very petite, so she needed a very special bike to buy, and all these things that the guy got her in a matter of 6 months, and flying her all over, vacations. I mean, she's just being treated as a queen and so well. And my friend is like, I don't know what he sees in her. She's not even pretty. And I know this woman because we ran together.
Mhm.
And she's happy. She's appreciative. She's playful. She's always
Yes.
advocating. Whatever it is, she's going to give it a try. And she has this energy about her, that you want to
Yes,
be
she's
around her.
open.
She's
She's
open.
Yeah,
She's,
so
yeah,
he's giving her so much because, well, partially that's part of that's part of where he he's got someone that's really receptive. So he
right.
wants to just shower her with the world.
Yeah,
And that just happens to be him.
yeah,
He wants a woman that's happy, that's grateful, that's up to do some really cool things with him. And yeah, he's gonna spoil her.
right.
So
That's
you can
exactly
easily get
it. Yeah,
spoiled
yeah,
by being that way and also having standards. Like, I think a lot of times what can happen is maybe it starts off that way in the beginning, and then the woman starts to, we start to grab feelings, right? It's kind of
right,
like, and then all of a sudden she starts monitoring how she's being, and then she doesn't then she gets out of that natural flow
right,
of the feminine too. And we can, our brain is always looking for danger. We have certain, you know um, protective mechanisms that we all have that are based on how we see, oh, that could be dangerous, he's looking at me this way, that could be dangerous. um, and something that we teach in my program, Safe to Love, is how to shift that into feeling first rather than always thinking and landing on a story, but
mhm,
feeling into, oh, how does this really feel? And not reacting right away. Um, and questioning yourself, is
right,
that dangerous? What is this feeling telling me? And pretty soon you start, when you actually reverse how you see things and feel into things, you start to create a more open experience, and you start to feel into what partnerships are truly safe
mm,
for you.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, I
So,
mean,
so
there's a lot
important.
around this, but
What you just said is so important, because that's the most dangerous moment in the relationship, is when we start to, at the beginning, when they are not attached to the guy and they are just getting to know each other. It's a lot easier to be authentic and to be open and to be vulnerable. But once we start to develop feelings towards the guy, that's when we start to, it's there is a potential of us starting to relax on our values and standards and boundaries. So it's important to keep questioning our thoughts, like you said, and keeping ourselves regulated, safe, so we don't betray ourselves. And then,
yeah,
so it's so important. Thank you for saying that. That's great.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. We can
So,
easily immediately go into that, that mode of abandoning self and mistaking, um, chemistry and excitement for actually danger. So, or vice versa, because we tend to move towards what feels familiar, but has familiarity always been the best for you? So I dive deeper into these things.
Right, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Familiarity has always been the best for you. Hmm.
Right. And it's always good to question things, question your feelings, question what's coming up. Don't assume what someone else is thinking. And that's a big thing we
Right,
can do as a society.
right,
Men and women do it. I've seen them both, like, oh, well, she must be thinking, she wants, I don't know. She wants to go out tonight because she she looks particularly nice today, um and that may be the furthest thing from the truth.
right,
So it's around getting curious with yourself and then being able to open up with them in an open way
right,
and with a positive energy
right,
instead of another, maybe a different kind of energy, like that could actually create separation. And the more we think, or the more that we feel like we need to show up a certain way in order to get love, which is not just you being you and in your just beautiful, happy, glowing self, then that creates, that's part of the core of codependency there.
right,
So we want to like learn how to anchor and harness in that energy that's naturally the true nectar and beauty of who we are, and let others see that. And that really
right.
creates the kind that magnetizes the kind of partnership that you say that you want. It becomes manifest in your life too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love what you said. I love what you said. And that may mean that that the ladies may have to reject a lot of guys, or that they will be rejected by some guys. But rather
Right.
than saying, oh, there is something wrong with me because he stopped seeing me, it's more like, well, he's not aligned with who I am. We don't want the same things.
Exactly.
Because I am truly, authentically being my highest self, he can see it right away, and he's better off on his way, so I can find the right guy for me.
Hmm.
Those are tough moments when they leave and when they ghost, or they say, I don't want to see you anymore for X, Y, or Z reason. And I see we take it so personally, but actually it's a blessing, because it's one less guy that they have to date, one less guy.
Exactly. And there may be parts of your life that aren't working. Like, you've got to look at the overarching, like,
Right.
what's the message that I'm receiving here?
Yeah.
um if you feel like you're happy the way things are, then great, you'll bring in a man that sees all of who you are and what you're about, and be ready to jump right in with you. Or if you have areas that you're like, well, I'd really like to be, better here, great. Focus on that area. Focus on the growth in that area for yourself. Because what we don't want is to look for someone that we feel like has something that we don't have.
Mm,
And then that create, that also will create a need rather than like bonus icing on the cake,
right,
right? Like,
right. Wow,
so
that is amazing. That is amazing that you said that because that happens a lot.
it
That
does.
we are attracted to someone because he has something that we need, and coming from need, it's not the best. It creates codependency, like you said.
Right, right. And then we we start to do things like pretzel ourselves
Yeah,
into the kind of person that we think that they want. And when he likely started falling for the woman that you truly are,
right,
like when, you know, there's a saying, men tend to marry a woman wanting her to never change. Women, on the other hand, will tend to marry a man hoping he will change, right?
right,
And where you want to be is in full acceptance for who they are, how they are today. And sure, if you like things to enhance or grow or shift a little, you inspire that
right.
within.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have a gift for the
I
ladies?
do. I've got a gift. I've got a gift. More communication. So yes, so I've got all kinds of goodies in this complimentary gift for you guys. I've got a deeper training around some love-based communication that will help you understand and give you some more legs around this conversation, as well as I have some scripts. So it's really great. You can start to see the framework and how it works, anywhere from online, right? So from online to, um, you know, wanting to, asking for a need that you have, how to frame it. Now, your energy gets to be clean and from a really, curious, non judgmental place and see how he shows up. So,
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Also, scripts. That's great. So you just need to copy and paste pretty much.
yeah,
I love
makes life
that.
easy. And then you can start to embody that yourself as you're learning.
Right. It's practice, 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 practice.
Mhm.
Practice a few times and then it's yours. I love it. Thank you so much. There is anything else you would like to say to the ladies before we go apart?
Well, I love that you're here and this really just shows that love is happening for you
Hmm.
because the very fact that you take the time and you put the energy into this area of your life to help encourage the process and speed it up. My goodness. Love is if you haven't already, receive the kind of partnership that you deeply desire. And I invite you to take aligned action alongside of the tools that you're receiving,
Beautiful.
whatever
Thank
that
you,
looks like.
Cyndi. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me.